Welcome to Motoworld. If you're a fan of dirt track or motocross, today's show has just what you want. If your taste run to racing on pavement, well, we have that too, plus a lot more. Let's start with round 3 of the AMA National Championship Dirt Track Series, an event that turned out to be a real nail-biter. And who were the riders to watch?
Right now, it looks like Chris Carr and Doug Chandler is going to be going real fast, but we know how Jay Springsteen gets around here. He gets around here good, and there's some other guys out there. You know, you never know who's going to go fast tonight, but there's some fast ones out there.
Defending national champ Scott Parker hit the nail on the head. There were indeed some fast guys out there, and when you put fast guys on a track like Ascot, well, the action can't help but be fast, furious, and exciting. The Ascot track has what is referred to as a cushion. In layman's terms, that means there is traction on the high part of the track between the corners. Scott Parker, rider number 1, is the acknowledged master at riding the cushion, and he rode it to perfection at Ascot. The trouble was, Chris Carr, number 20, Doug Chandler on the blue Honda, and Rick Graham on the green Kawasaki were also riding to perfection. Throughout the race, the lead changed continuously, sometimes 2 or 3 times a lap. Then at the midway point, Carr came out of turn 4 with his arm in the air, apparently out of the race. But as the leader sped away, Carr's bike fired and he was back in the hunt. A couple of laps later, though, in his haste to catch up, Carr made this mistake and, although uninjured, was out of contention. The final laps were a Parker-Chandler shootout. Then the Gremlins grabbed hold of Parker's Harley and the defending champ dropped off the pace. The impressive win went to Doug Chandler aboard the Supertrap DNS Racing Honda. Rick Graham finished second. For winning his 9th national championship event, Doug Chandler from Salinas, California, is our Castro Rider of the Week. Chandler, who has spent more time on pavement than dirt the past couple of seasons, last won a national at San Jose in 1987. Perhaps this win will change Chandler's racing direction.
From dirt track racing on a half mile, we turn to drag racing down an 1/8 of a mile strip of asphalt. Chris Larson reports on Drag Bike USA's Dixie Cycle Nationals.
One of the first things you notice when you wander the paddock of a Drag Bike USA race meeting is the variety in machines. Remember those old 2-stroke Kawasaki triples? Color this one gone. If your thing is 2-wheeled Exotica, there's plenty to satisfy your eyes and ears. If your thing is more of a stock-like appearance, well, this is the class for you. Drag Bike USA offers grassroots racing as well as the top-of-the-line Pro Stars. Getting back to the exotic category, this Kawasaki Ninja, or what started out as a Ninja, belongs to Ultracross champ Tom Layton. The Florida rider is demonstrating one of the unique aspects of the more heavily modified machines, the air shifter.
There's no person alive that can foot shift a bike as quick as the MRE air shifter can work. And with the new slider clutch, it eliminates one facet that slows a lot of people up. It improves your reaction time, plus it makes the bike leave harder at the line.
Later in the afternoon, Tom left the line a little too hard, resulting in a shattered crankcase. Luckily, none of the flying debris from the engine hit the rider's body. Let's watch some of the action as we roll some of the big winners' names on the lower half of the screen. The Dixie Cycle Nationals did suffer through a rain delay and freezing cold temperatures. The traction was so bad at times that the old Army surplus flamethrower had to be brought out to warm up the rubber. Congratulations to all the winners on the day, and a Motoworld tip of the hat for their sportsmanship in less than ideal conditions. Reporting from Motoworld, this is Chris Larson.
Still to come on this edition of Motoworld, Supercross action from the Big Apple. We'll take a look at a design company that might just be working on your next motorcycle. And coming up next, a weekend's worth of highlights from the recent national road race at Road Atlanta. Keep it tuned to TNN Sports Sunday Lineup.
Welcome back to Motoworld. It's been almost 8 weeks between the opening round of the AMA National Road Racing Series at Daytona and the second round recently staged at Road Atlanta. Dennis Torres has joined me on the set for the story of this long-awaited weekend of racing. And Dennis, 8 weeks in any sports when you're on the sideline is a long time.
With a hiatus of that length, it didn't matter how you fared at Daytona. Everyone started round 2 with a clean slate. In fact, the Road Atlanta Winner's Circle featured a whole new set of faces. If you won at Daytona, you did not fare well in Georgia. That is, with one exception. The first champagne pop of the weekend occurred on Saturday. That's Dale Quarterly scattering his fellow racers after leading Dutchman Racing to the win in the 3-hour endurance event. That's a significant scene because Dutchman also had that honor at Daytona. However, their second win in as many races did not come easy. It was obvious in the early stages of the race that the number 6 Honda of the Rough Stock Racing All-Stars were the pace setters. The term All-Stars is an appropriate title for the team. Riders include Canadian Ruben McMurder, veteran racer and Team Ramrod Dr. David Kiefer, and the very relaxed and confident John Ashmead, who won this year's Daytona 200 back in March. Out on the track, the number 2 Pennsylvania-based Dutchman Racing were maintaining a consistent second, while defending series champions California-based Hypercycle circulated in third. Both Suzuki-mounted teams would move up in the standings when rough-stocked Honda quit in the final half hour of the race. So in the end, it was Dutchman Racing with New England's Dale Quarterly and Georgia's Mike Harth at the reins. GTU honors went to this Yamaha FCR 600, who oddly enough were called Roswell Honda. Georgian Cam Roos and Steve Matthews, the riders. So with 2 rounds run in the U.S. Endurance Series, Dutchman is undefeated, leads the overall standings, and were the only ones to repeat their Daytona winning performance at Road Atlanta. Looking at 750cc Supersport results, Yoshimura Suzuki's Jamie James took top honors after teammate Scott Russell crashed without injury. James, you might remember, had the Daytona 200 in the bag until he lost a couple of cylinders late in the race. Remember this horrifying crash at Road Atlanta last year? The rider was local star Cam Roos. Fortunately, he was okay after that wild ride. 1 year later, he was a class winner in Saturday's endurance race and ran away with the 600cc Supersport race. Roos and the other top 9 finishers were all Yamaha FZR mounted. The final 2 races of the day were the Castrol 250 Grand Prix and the Superbike final. A practice crash had a lot to do with the outcome of the Castrol 250 event, while the Superbike race featured a hometown win. Let's start out with the Castrol 250 story and the question, what's wrong with this picture? Answer, notice the sling which belongs to U.S. Grand Prix winner John Kosinski. As a result of a practice crash, Johnny K and the number 1 Yamaha would not take part in the race. Enter Randy Mamola Racing's Rich Oliver, second to Kosinski at Daytona in the customer bike class. Also on the over-the-counter class was Jim Felice, sponsored by Japan's largest jean manufacturer, Edwin Jeans. It's always good to see a sponsor from outside the industry taking part in our sport. The racing in the 250 GP class began on lap 1 of the restart after a red flag condition. Unfortunately for most, the racing was for second because number 97 Oliver was in control the entire 20-lap distance. With Kosinski out, the pressure was on the Yamaha rider to perform, and that's exactly what he did. Behind Oliver, a great battle between number 16 Robbie Peterson of South Africa and Californian Jim Felice was raging. That contest lasted till the checkered flag, with Felice nipping the foreign rider for second place. This class is really becoming the premier category of racing at the Nationals, thanks to a shot in the arm by Castrol. Brand rivalry was also in evidence, with Oliver on a Yamaha, Felice on a Honda, and Peterson on an Italian Aprilia. No, this is not a scene from a motorcycle junkyard. This is what happens when too many superbikes try to occupy the same real estate. Thankfully, no one was seriously injured. The race was delayed for almost an hour and was restarted. The surprise leader on lap 1 was our Rider of the Week, Doug Chandler, on the Kawasaki. The Green Meanie fans stopped cheering, though, on lap 2 when the Ninja committed Harry-Carry. Enter number 22, hometown rider Scott Russell on the Yoshimura Suzuki. The 24-year-old had destiny riding on his shoulders on this day. At the opening round in Daytona, Russell's hopes for a win went out the window after this starting grid smash-up. But like the day's script read, Daytona losers were Road Atlanta winners. Number 25, Dave Sadowski, was bitterly disappointed at Daytona, retiring after leading the big race. At Road Atlanta, he ran strong. The Vance and Hines Suzuki is finally sorted out, and Sadowski is a tougher competitor after dieting away 20 pounds. But this day belonged to the hometown boy. Scott Russell wanted this win badly, and he got it. He was clearly the fastest rider out on the track and could very well be the new favorite to take the Superbike title. In the winner's circle, he made it clear to me that Daytona was merely a memory.
Daytona would have been nice, but I thought Doug Paulin had that one wrapped up, and things just didn't go right. But this one here, this is the one. Congratulations. Thank you. Woo!
20,000 fans showed up to watch the action at Road Atlanta, and what they saw was a very strong showing by local talent. Most would now have to agree that the Southeast, and in particular the Atlanta area, is clearly the new mecca of road racing in America. One quick road racing note before I say goodbye. According to Rick Spillman, PR man for American Honda, Bubba Schobert is back in his hometown of Lubbock, Texas, undergoing a long-term rehabilitation program. Spillman went on to say that Bubba is regaining his memory and physical strength significantly each day. Schobert, if you recall, received serious head injuries at the U.S. Grand Prix back in April. What's that saying about keeping a good man down?
It says you can't, and Bubba Schobert is a good man. Thank you, Dennis. That's good news. When we come back, we'll travel to New Jersey for the latest Supercross action. Keep it tuned to TNN.
Motoworld is brought to you by Motoworld Suzuki Event Calendar. A look at some of the major events coming up in the world of motorcycles and ATVs.
The world-famous Los Angeles Coliseum will be the site for the final round of the AMA Supercross Series. Saturday night, June 10th, will be the date. The first and only appearance of the World Championship Superbike Series will take place on June 11th. Brainerd International Raceway will be the site. Come on out and cheer on defending series champ Flying Fred Merkel, the top American entrant. Touring enthusiasts will be flocking to upstate New York June 6th through the 10th. The reason? The annual Americade Touring Rally. Lake George will be the site for this must-attend event on everyone's motorcycle calendar.
There is no question Supercross is a serious sport. Riders are dedicated. Big money is involved, and fans turn out by the tens of thousands. Mixed in with the seriousness, though, is a lighter side. Come with us to round 13, and we'll show you some of both.
On hand to direct the evening's lighter side was none other than Mr. Coors Extra Gold. What is he waving at? Well, actually, he's giving directions. You see, this group of spectators were blindfolded and turned loose in a mud pit to participate in the age-old contest of beach ball groping. Find the right ball, and you ride out of the mud on a brand-new motorcycle. No one knew it at the time, but this contest was a preview of things to come. Things that even Superman couldn't hold back. Do you suppose the track was made of krypton? Next, some serious competition. Heading into the 125 race, Yamaha's Damon Bradshaw held a slim 3-point lead over Honda's Mike Kidrowski in the chase for the Eastern Regional 125 title. With that event underway, it was quickly apparent that 3 points was not enough for Bradshaw. The teenager from Charlotte, North Carolina got a good start and ran away from the field, while Kidrowski, with a poor start, charged through the pack to finish second. Bradshaw now owns a 6-point series advantage. Next up, Borean. Translation? How about Rain Guy? It sprinkled during the 125 main, but when Borean shot his fire and thunder, it started to pour. The wet weather did not, however, bother Jeff Ward. In the early going, the former Supercross champ on the green Kawasaki took the lead from Honda's Jeff Stanton, the current series points leader. One can only guess, but with track conditions worsening, Stanton should have settled for second in favor of protecting the championship points lead. But at the midway point, the guessers were out of business. Jeff Ward was out of the race. He was the victim of a faulty transmission. The soggy win went to Stanton, who increased his points lead over teammate Guy Cooper in the championship standings. With only 2 events remaining in the series, Cooper from Stillwater, Oklahoma, is the only rider that can challenge Stanton for the title. The series moves to Oklahoma City, Guy Cooper's backyard. Look for a barn burner.
Before leaving the Supercross arena, let's take a quick look at a unique approach to handing out prize money. It's a lot like the California gold rush in the phrase, "There's gold in them thar hills." The difference is we're looking at the Supercross gold rush. The new phrase, "There's gold in them thar jumps."
This year, the Supercross races are brought to you by Coors Extra Gold. Therefore, we are giving thousands of dollars worth of actual pure gold to the winners. We're also giving $1,000 to the Coors Extra Effort Award winner as well.
The gold is automatic. The winner gets over a pound of it for every race he wins. The Extra Effort Award, though, is something a little bit different. It goes to the rider that throughout the heat races tries a little harder, and it does not necessarily go to the factory stars.
There's a lot of guys out there that aren't sponsored by major factory teams, so we try to help those guys if at all possible, but we never know who's going to win. It's determined by the media.
Although Guy Cooper is a factory rider and has been the recipient of the Coors Extra Effort Award, he fully supports privateer participation.
Oh, that's always a good idea. You know, the privateers, I've been on I know what the privateer life is all about, and you know, it's nice to see the privateers come in and get some of that money too.
Now, $1,000 in gold for putting forth an extra effort is nothing to sneeze at. For the rider, however, the Coors Extra Effort Award is more than money.
Well, there's a lot of us giving 100% or 110%, and we might not be at the front of the pack, we might be mid-pack, but it's nice to see whenever they vote you in, you know, it's like you're not forgotten.
I guess with all that money involved, we could call that a golden opportunity to get rich. When Motorworld continues, we'll visit a unique company that plays a significant role in what type of motorcycle you might be riding in the future. We'll be right back.
Those behind-the-scenes people belong to one of the more unique design companies in the world, GK Design International. With corporate headquarters in Tokyo, a European branch in Amsterdam, and a U.S. office in Los Angeles, GK Design literally impacts the world. They're involved in any and all products that benefit from concept to completion production. As far as their motorcycle application is concerned, GK serves as full partner in Yamaha's conceptual design phase of production. In order to provide that service, GK monitors worldwide market trends and relays the data back to Japan. Case in point, Yamaha's VMAX motorcycle, a total departure from what was the norm in Japanese motorcycle production.
The concept that came about was very alien to the Japanese. Building a 150 horsepower motorcycle with, you know, very good straight line performance seems sort of insane to them. So you know, we sort of had to present a whole story based on the whole American history on power and macho and the whole brute, all-American, you know, power feeling that that is very unique to this country.
When you talk about GK Design, they've expanded our capability to communicate. And they are a unique company in the fact that they are, you know, a Japanese-American company, you know, about equally staffed, I do believe. So they understand how to communicate with our engineering group in Japan and do a very good job of it.
With a partner like Yamaha Motor Corporation and projects like James Parker's Rad MC2 Squared, you can see that, yes, indeed, they in fact do a good job of it. Reporting for Motoworld, this is Mark McKay.
With that, the clock on the wall says it's time to say goodbye. But before we go, one more reminder of the big road race coming to Brainerd International Raceway in Brainerd, Minnesota. The first and only appearance of the World Championship Superbike Series in the U.S. will take place on June 10th and 11th. It should be a great weekend of racing. For all of us here at Motoworld, I'm Larry Myers saying keep your wheels on the ground and your feet on the pegs. We'll see you next week.
Motoworld.